Hey barbecue fans, welcome to a beautiful day on the Frankenby Ranch. All right, so today we've got a very special guest. We've got Adam from Flavor Seed. Welcome to the ranch.
Hey folks.
So Adam reached out. He is our affiliate sponsor for Academy of Q, and he's asked if we could do some cooking together. So here we are. We're gonna do a bunch of cooking today, and the first thing we're gonna kick off with is I've got this really beautiful steak here. So tell me about your rubs, Adam, and which one is gonna go good with this?
Yeah, so we've got a couple out here that we could work with today.
Okay.
I've got a few things that are really great with steak. We've got a divine bovine, which is our kind of a chop house Montreal steak mixed with everything bagel, kind of chunky. You know, just really withstands the heat.
Okay.
Excellent on beef. We've got the OG, which is an ode to garlic, but it's also the OG. It's the kind of the original spice, right? It's salt, pepper, and garlic.
Nice.
Sometimes that's all you need. You just want to get super simple. Now we've also got a chocolate coffee rub, which I kind of geared more towards a brisket. It loves fat, like just kind of maybe a duck breast or a ribeye. This looks like a beautiful fillet here, so I think we ought to stick with either maybe the OG or the divine bovine there.
Okay. Maybe we could just blend the two of them.
Hey,
okay,
that's the fun of cooking.
So my idea was I'm going to bacon wrap this thing. So I'm going to sear the bacon off really quick, and then we're going to put this thing on the flat grill, and we're going to sear it at 600 degrees, and we're going to do a reverse, what's called a reverse sear, and we're going to cook it in the smoker once we do it. So I'm going to let that bacon start cooking, and then let's go ahead and start with the seasoning. So you said the OG, you said?
I would say, some OG is going to be great.
Okay.
You can check out this, here's the divine bovine right here. We can open this thing up and kind of smell it.
Smells fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, the OG, you cannot go wrong with that.
Great.
And then here's some like chunkier. It's got a little bit of
really nice. Okay.
Either way, you can't go wrong, to be quite honest.
And I just wanted to point something out here. You told me earlier that you guys are USDA certified organic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that it?
We sure are. So the reason why we started this is we want to help folks eat a non-processed food diet quickly, easily, deliciously, hopefully organically. Because to be quite honest, I'm not so sure what's going on in the food supply anymore. I know that being USDA organic, we've got a lot of certifications and governmental oversight that definitely helps in making sure that what you get is truly organic. There's not a bunch of chemicals. There's not a bunch of processed stuff in there.
Exactly.
And so, just to kind of do it the old-fashioned way, right? When I grew up, I knew where my food was coming from. It was from one of the farmers that my grandmother knew. So everything we were eating was grown kind of right there within 20 miles of us.
Yeah, and like you said, with the food supply these days, you don't know where it's coming from. And if I can get something that's good, solid, organic product, I'm going to go with it over, your standard store-bought stuff any day of the week.
Yep.
Okay, so just so we're covering what we're doing here. Now, a big mistake that people make when they do a bacon wrapped anything is they don't try to cook the bacon off first.
Yep.
And what you're going to come up with is a soggy piece of bacon wrapped around a nice piece of meat.
Yep.
At the end of the day when you're done with it. So I like to sear it up just a little bit. And this is a huge steak, so this bacon piece is not going to fit all the way around, but that's all right. So let's pull this thing in here. Its seasoning smells amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of our favorites. We even, a lot of times we'll just put it in some olive oil, the divine bovine, and just use it as a bread dip, and it's so good. You'll eat a whole loaf of bread that way. And if you're eating whole foods and like a whole food type diet, you need that olive oil, you need that fat, right? And so, and everything's going to be lower in sodium than your normal. Your household name brands, right? They're just loaded with sodium, and so we use a bunch of just organic. It's not really organic because it's a mineral, but just sea salt, and that's what we use to.
That makes a huge difference in cooking if you're using sea salt or flake salt versus your iodized salt.
Yeah.
Your iodized salts, there's no flavor to them whatsoever. It's just salt. But when you get those, the flake salts, the really good salt, it adds a totally different dimension to your flavor.
Right. Yep.
All right. So what I did was I closed this thing up, and we are up to 534 degrees. I like to sear around that temperature. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil on here. We're going to flash sear this thing. Going to let that sear up for a couple minutes here. What that's going to do is that's going to lock in the flavors. It's going to caramelize the sugars or anything in that rub. It's going to caramelize it, make it come out really nice.
Yeah.
Give a little bit of added flavor. And then we've got the smoker set up over here at 275 degrees. And like I said, what we're doing is a reverse sear. Now, a lot of the times, people like to do this on the Traeger. They'll ramp the Traeger up to 500 degrees and put it on there and sear it really nice and then bring the temperature down. If I was to do that on this Traeger, it'd probably catch on fire and burn this whole place to the ground.
Wow.
This is Traeger Generation 1, and what they did was they captured the grease tray on the inside.
Okay.
And it goes down a little chute, and they didn't cover the chute. So as you ramp it above 450 degrees, those sparks go flying out, and it can really catch everything on fire. I almost burnt the whole thing up the first time I did a reverse sear. Learned from that mistake, so we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, that just looks beautiful.
Put a little bit more on there. Let's see what we're looking like now. Yeah, there we go. So another thing we want to do with steak is shrimp. That sounds pretty fantastic, right?
Yeah, surf and turf all day long.
Surf and turf. All right, so we got some beautiful shrimp here where that thing's going. What are we using for seasoning on
All right, so we debated about this, and I have a traditional North Carolina seafood seasoning, and we were talking about using it, but we kind of both of us kind of like a little spice in our life, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think what we're gonna do, since we're smoking these, I think we're gonna do a little chipotle, because that chipotle pepper is nothing more than a smoked jalapeno, right?
Yeah.
So it's already got some smokiness in the seasoning. So I think a little more smokiness is just going to go really well with these shrimp are nice and sweet. And so I think this is going to go excellent together.
This looks fantastic. All right, let's see what we got here.
If you give it a sniff, be careful. It might make you sneeze there, but yeah, it's going to be.
Ooh, that's pretty.
It's going to be a nice.
Oh, look at that. That's a really pretty seasoning there. I like that.
Oh yeah.
Let's get
Yeah, it's kind of one of the favorite things for me, other than coming up with the flavors. All these are my recipes that I've come up with or that my family has passed down from generation to generation. And so one of the most fun things is to come up with these flavors, but then naming them is really like the most awesome part. And so my wife doesn't like this when I tell this story, but she used to call it chipotle. And and so we said we called it. Did someone say Chipotle because it's supposed to rhyme, and so that was a good way to help her remember that.
That's outstanding. When we were competing on the professional barbecue circuit, you talk about naming things. Our competition barbecue team name was McFrankenboo Barbecue.
Okay.
And my wife's maiden name was Hagenboo. My last name is Frank. So we put them together, and we were the original Brangelinos.
Okay.
We were the Frankenboos.
Yeah.
We still are to this day. Everybody calls us the Frankenboos. But since she's full-blooded Irish, we put the Mick on the front of it and came up with McFrankenboo.
Nice.
So it's fun doing
I was kind of
like
wondering where that came from. So that's excellent. That's
All right,
excellent.
let's see where we're at on this steak real quick. I think we're about ready to pop this thing onto the smoker. Yeah. All right, we're looking really good. Bacon slid off there. Let's stick it back in. Okay.
Yeah, the one thing I do really like about that divine bovine is just, those big thick chunks. They really stand up to the heat.
Okay.
Even on a sear or just in the barbecue. Even when they get that garlic gets that char.
Oh, it's so good.
It is. It's
I do a lot of steaks. I'll do them hot and fast on a cast iron pan.
Yeah.
And at the end, you throw a little bit of chopped up garlic and some rosemary in there, and it just chars up really nice and turns out pretty fantastic like that.
Yeah, and like I tell people all the time, I love getting creative in the kitchen, right? And so we have all these flavors to help people, right? And if you're not so inclined to try and create your own your own thing, use this.
Yeah.
Or kick it up a notch. If it doesn't have enough salt for you, add a little salt. If it doesn't have enough cayenne, add a little cayenne, make it a little hotter for you. And really, like you said, just play. I think that's the fun part about cooking.
That is the fun part about
playing
cooking.
around with it.
Absolutely.
And
it's like sometimes, we'll come out here and start making a recipe up, and it's like, this is going to be terrible. And it comes out amazing.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we were on the professional barbecue circuit, we first started, I started playing around with rubs. I'm like, I'm going to make my own rub. And it's like trying. It's like I couldn't come up with a good rub, and we were doing mediocre. And one of the old barbecue guys looked at me and he's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with using this good, solid, pre-made rub. It kind of stuck with me, so I stopped. I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave it to the professionals. I haven't made my own rub since. I make my own barbecue sauce because that's a little different. But rubs, like, these things are fantastic. Why should I try to reinvent the wheel when I can pick up a solid product like this that's already, GMO-free, USDA certified organic? I can't do that at home.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to leave it to you guys. All right, so what we got here, it's going to take a little bit for this steak because we want to get that steak to right at rare at about 125, maybe a little bit below that, maybe 135 at best. So the shrimp will probably take about 10 minutes to cook. So let's go ahead and cut this here. And we're going to let this thing cook because we don't want to sit here and just bore everybody to death with watching the thing cook. So we'll come back in about 15 to 20 minutes when that steak's ready to go.
We're down here outside of Atlanta with Jim Frank, the almost world famous barbecue expert. And we're cooking up a bunch of barbecue, really highlighting some of the benefits of flavor seed on some of the more usable and popular barbecue methods and meats and such. And so, we personally at Flavor Seed, we've been highlighting the paleo diet and the carnivore diet lately. It's really kind of something that's been kind of catchy for folks. And so a lot of our spices were developed to be used with meats, but they're also really great for, some of our most popular meat seasonings are also our most popular vegetarian and vegan seasonings. It's kind of amazing. So, but today, we're just kind of killing a little bit of time. And, when you've got a smoke going, when you're using your smoker, you want to use every inch of that thing because
absolutely
it is, it's a lot of work
there
sometimes.
Is. It's a commitment, I think somebody once said.
Yeah, it's a commitment. And so, so we've all got a little sweet tooth. And so we're going to pull out the Sugar Mama, and we're going to we got some leftover bacon here. So we're going to make some candied bacon on the smoker. You can do this at home in your oven. And, we're going to get this out. We're going to coat it on both sides. We're going to throw it in there. It's super easy. Done in probably, 30, 40 minutes. This stuff is it's extra thick, it says. So, we'll see on the timing there, but
I love doing candied bacon. Like, I've got a recipe exactly like this, and I'm dying to try your rub on it because a good candied bacon is such a crowd pleaser. People just absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I love spice. Obviously, that's why I own a spice company. But I go pretty heavy on some things because I just know that I'm
cinnamon,
gonna.
I smell?
There is some cinnamon in there.
Yeah.
It's this is our cinnamon sugar dessert spice, and it's got I got a few other things, little tricks in there. A little bit of ginger. That ginger adds a little bit of heat, but you don't really notice it too terribly much. The finer palates will notice it.
Yeah.
But it's just a really good all-around spice. People put it in their coffee in the morning. You're guaranteed not to have salt and cinnamon toast.
Yeah.
If you use this. I've had that as a kid growing up. Salt and cinnamon toast, that's not good.
No, that's not good.
We want sugar. We want sugar in there. So this has got brown sugar, this has got white cane sugar, all organic. So, this is just a sweet treat. We try not to consume too much sugar in our household.
Yep.
But every now and again, you just really need a sweet treat. So,
absolutely.
We hit it pretty hard there with that, and just going to throw it in the smoker.
I've got the smoker set up at 375 degrees, so this should take 20, 40 minutes maybe. We'll monitor it as we go because you want to get a nice crispy piece of bacon.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see these on menus at restaurants. Millionaire's bacon, and they charge like $5 a slice. It's ridiculous. You can go out and get yourself some flavor seed for a lot less than that, some bacon, and make yourself up some really good stuff.
You know, and another little trick, I just want a little bit more on there. Another little trick there is I like to put a little Tabasco or hot sauce on it at the end too. And you wouldn't think it, but it really hits it off. So it's quite nice.
That's pretty outstanding. All right, let's pop this thing in here. Put that up on the top rack so it gets a little hotter. We'll go from here.
All right.
All right, we'll be back in a bit when those things are done. Okay, guys, so our steak is closing in on rare. Right now we're at 103 degrees. So we're gonna go ahead and fire our shrimp. Get this done in here. So when this is done, we're gonna have some really nice steak and shrimp, some surf and turf on an amazing steak with some epic rub on it. All right, so it looks like our steak's about ready. You about ready to check this steak out?
I can't. We were just talking about it off camera. I can't wait to taste
I know,
this thing.
This thing smells amazing. All right, so right now we're at 140. We've overshot a little bit, but it's a big, thick steak. Doesn't matter. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit right here. Look at that. That looks amazing.
Beautiful.
All right, so I'm gonna tint this with some tin foil. Just let it rest for a couple of minutes.
I love that. If you guys aren't doing the trick about the pre-cooked bacon thing like that, that crispy bacon on the side rather than that soggy.
And you know, that's the mistake everybody makes, is they just take a raw piece of bacon, wrap it around like on the shrimp. They just wrap raw bacon around it, and the shrimp's been in here for maybe 10 minutes. You're not cooking a piece of bacon in 10 minutes.
No.
You're gonna have a warm, soggy, raw piece of bacon.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
So our shrimp are actually done as well. Let's go ahead and pull these off.
That's excellent.
And the leftovers that we ate were absolutely amazing. These things are so good. All right, so let's do this properly.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay. I'm telling you guys, I am not a huge shrimp fan, but when you use this chipotle rub on some shrimp, this stuff is amazing.
It is.
It is so flavorful, and it really makes the flavors pop in the shrimp. It works really well.
Don't you wish they could smell it right now?
What like it just smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh man.
All right. Let's take a look at this guy. Normally I like to let my steaks rest a little bit longer, but it is a little bit chilly out here today and I don't want it to get super cold. So we can see the bacon is nice and crisp because we pre-cooked it. It's been in there for about 45 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. So this thing looks like it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and pull the toothpicks off of it so we're not eating toothpicks. And then I'm just going to cut this thing right in half.
Oh, look how tender that is.
Look at that. That's a perfect,
oh, that is perfect.
Perfect medium rare steak. That's absolutely amazing.
I cannot wait.
So this is what you're going to want to serve your friends and family.
Absolutely.
You get you some of this amazing flavor seed rub. Put this stuff on your steak and get yourself a nice, beautiful piece of steak like that. That's epic. So you want to try it? Let's try
Absolutely.
this. All right, let's see what we got here.
My mouth is watering.
I know, it smells so good. I'm like, that's awesome. Give that a shot.
I'm going in for I got to get everything here.
Oh yeah. Got to have everything involved. That rub is fantastic. It really complements very well.
If you don't like that,
there's something wrong with you.
Just go to the doctor, ask him to check your tongue. You got something wrong.
Because that is amazing. That is really, really good.
That's awesome.
Real super simple, guys. Go out and get you some of this amazing flavor seed rub. Use the ones that we recommended. Yeah, I'm sure they can always reach out to you if they have a recommendation.
Absolutely. Yep. We've got a little on our website. We've got a little support button there. You can just hit it. It comes right to us. We try and answer questions really quick. Sometimes, we're busy doing stuff and we can't get right to it. But generally, we try and respond within the hour and get your questions answered.
Outstanding. All right, so we're going to clean up here, munch on this steak and the shrimp a little bit, make you guys all super jealous. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do some chicken. We'll show you guys, like I've been talking about it in some of these fireside chats that we do, the difference between an organic and a store-bought chicken. We've actually got some here. We're going to show you that. We're going to cook up some chicken, maybe on the flat grill. Maybe we'll fire it up in
we
the
got to
smoker.
talk about that. We've got a few options there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we could do. You know, we could go lemon pepper. We could go with anything with wings. We could go with the Greek. We could go with the blackening. I mean, we got all kinds of options here.
Well, let's play with them. We'll see how many pieces of chicken we got. We'll play with a bunch of different ones and come up with something good.
Yeah.
So let's flip this table and we'll go with it. We'll be right back in a minute. Okay, so our bacon's ready.
I think so.
I'm pretty excited about this. We got some hot sauce.
We do. We've got a little bit of it's habanero, but you said it's not too hot. I'm a little bit. We aren't going to put it on all of them. We're going
Now look at this.
Let's
You
do
can
a
see
test
the
piece
sugar's
here.
bubbling.
Oh yeah,
That looks amazing.
It does. We'll do a test piece. See how hot this hot sauce is, and see if we'll see how we like it here.
Now
And
the hot sauce is going to offset the
sugars,
sugars, right?
Yeah, it's just going to give it that sweet heat. Everybody loves that sweet heat. I mean, I'm sure on the barbecue circuit, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
That was what, well, I imagine. I don't know. I've never been on the barbecue circuit, but I would imagine like that sweet heat kind of goes a long way.
okay. Now, when you do barbecue sauce, what do you typically? How do you?
It's more of a sweet and tangy is what my
sweet.
barbecue sauce is.
Okay.
I designed it to be a medium viscosity because we were in St. Louis when I did it. In Kansas City's really thick, and Memphis is like runny water thin. So I made it. Hey, we're in St. Louis, so I'm going to make it a medium viscosity.
Yeah.
It's got a nice pop from the vinegar, and then it's sweet. It's a really good finishing sauce. It's not something you're going to paint on the entire time.
Right. Yeah.
So I would imagine if we let this stuff sit for quite a while, it's going to
Oh,
get all
yeah.
stand up and be all crispy and nice, right? But
Yep.
let's
Yep.
just try this stuff now.
I'm going straight
The
up.
smell is amazing. Oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
That little hot sauce just
Yeah,
kind of
that little pop of heat
tang.
works
It's a
well.
little, and they use vinegar in that too, so that little bit of
If you guys want a really fantastic candy bacon, millionaire's bacon, whatever you guys want to call it, go pick up some Sugar Mama. This was the only one we put on, right?
that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Real simple. Just sprinkle this stuff on, rub it in, throw it in the smoker. We did this at 350 degrees for, what was it, 20 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
It was about 20, 25 minutes. Maybe could have stayed a little bit longer, but I didn't want to burn it. It looked like it was starting to caramelize up.
It really did. But this,
I mean, this is the thickest bacon I think I've ever worked with, to be quite honest. This stuff was really
This is
thick.
fantastic. You don't think that the hot sauce would complement, but man, it really does. It's got some great complement flavors to it. And even though that says habanero, it's not.
It's really not. But if you don't like hot sauce, it's amazing without it as well. So you can't go wrong.
Let's try it.
I'm sorry, I just dug in.
No.
I couldn't help myself.
99% of the time, I'm the same way. It's like I turn around, I'm eating it, come back, I'm like, hey.
I mean, it's almost like, it's dessert. It's almost like, there's just that richness of the fat.
The cinnamon really makes it pop as well.
Right, I know. It's like a
Normally I
a
just use-
bacon pie or something.
Something.
Yeah, normally I
Apple
just
pie,
use like
bacon.
some sugar and a very little bit of like a barbecue seasoning. This is way better. I'll be using this stuff for my candied bacon from now on, 'cause that's just amazing.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
fantastic.
It's really good.
So we're gonna sit here and finish this up and clean this up, and then we're gonna come back and talk about some chicken, because you guys are really gonna love to see this. What organic chicken looks like versus your store-bought chickens. We'll dive a little bit into how the chickens are raised, versus an organic versus a farm raised. Just give you guys a little bit more insight into where your food comes from and how it's processed. So we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, let's talk about some chicken. Yeah. All right, so chicken. Everybody thinks all chicken is created equal. It's not, is it?
It really isn't. I mean, I wish I had room for chickens.
I would raise them myself.
I got them over there. I've yet to eat them, but
Well,
looking at my chickens, I mean, even stuffed with their feathers and all that stuff on them, they're fat. Their chicken breasts don't look like this.
yeah.
So this is a basic store-bought chicken. And what you notice right away, everybody sees these.
Look at that.
Look at the size of
Look
that
at
chicken breast.
That is huge.
So these things, like I've watched a lot of shows on where your food comes from, and we were talking about that earlier. chickens are one of the things that they'll feed hormones to. They pump them full of saline to get a chicken breast this size.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy.
No.
No, not at all. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this stuff in working with the seasonings.
We do, and
I buy a lot of chicken to in order to do my demonstrations and such, and so I've come across a lot of chicken, and so when we eat it, we want to. I personally want to know where it's come from and how it's been handled and what it's been fed, and because all that stuff comes back through, not only in the quality of the meat, but like what is you're actually putting in your body.
Exactly.
It just. I just don't like a bunch of chemicals and stuff. And
we ran into this on the professional circuit when we started barbecuing. Now,
look at
you can
that.
see the color difference in the chicken.
Yeah.
You can see it. This one it's got like this pale yellowish color. That looks like a fresh piece of meat. And on the circuit, I would pick up chicken thighs because that's primarily what we cooked. And you would get these chicken thighs and the skin was like it's like a dark yellow, and it'd have all this nasty fat up underneath it. And I'd see people taking a knife and scraping the fat off.
Ugh.
And because there's so much fat under the skin, it was just disgusting.
Well, and look how this just kind of disintegrates here.
Yeah,
I mean, this is just, it's like, it almost feels like mush, really. Yeah. And this is like fresh. I just went and bought this just so that we could show what some people eat on the daily basis. And I get it. Like, times are tough and food's expensive. And at the end of the day, you got to feed your family something, right?
Exactly.
And so, but if you have the means and you have the desire, you can still find good quality chicken and not pay a ton of price for it.
Exactly.
You just got to know what you're looking for, and this is not it.
No. When we stumbled upon free range air dried chicken. Now they use free range these days. They're like, oh, the chicken's free range. They can say that if it has a 7x7 pin to walk around in.
Right.
That's considered free range. That's not a real free range chicken. We stumbled upon it, and I started buying this free range air dried chicken back then. I think I was getting it from Redbird. Mm-hmm. And the skin was translucent. The meat looked like this. There was minimal fat. There was none of this yellow crap all over the chicken. If you see a chicken thigh, it's just coated in that fat.
Yeah.
The chicken thighs I was cooking at the time were not. And I went from placing middle of the pack to just killing people. Yeah. Like when I retired from the professional barbecue circuit, nobody still knew what I was doing. And they were inviting me, hey, can you come cook chicken for me? Come cook chicken for me. I'm like, I'm not doing that, I'm done. Nowadays, people are starting to figure it out. And we picked up Springer Mountain Farms, which is the only one that I've found recently that is non-GMO, no hormones, no antibiotics, nothing. Their stuff is free range, and it looks like this. It's beautiful. Yep. They sponsored us for probably 4 or 5 years on the circuit while we were just kicking everybody's ass with chicken.
Right.
And it was amazing. The flavor is different. You don't have this yellow, like this. It's just, it doesn't make, I don't know what they do to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Not
I ought to try and get a tour of a chicken processing plant
they
one
won't
time.
let you. There's no way they'll let you into it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a show we recently watched on Netflix, and it was where they took all these twins and they were like testing different diets on them because twins have identical DNA.
Right.
And at the end, they did this whole thing about where your food comes from, the chicken, and there was a chicken farmer that they interviewed, and he used to grow professional or for the big distributors, and he said that the chickens looked like chicken breasts with sticks for feet, like toothpicks for feet, because the way the hormones and everything they fed him. He said he couldn't do it and he quit. He started raising like organic mushrooms or something crazy like that.
I just love the way this, I mean, it's pink, almost purplish. I don't know I hope that comes through on the other side, but just, that looks like real meat. And the other thing I've noticed lately too is, speaking of chicken thighs, when I grew up, it was called white meat and dark meat.
Yeah.
And the dark meat, the chicken thigh and the leg, was literally dark. When you cooked it, it was almost brown.
Exactly.
And that does not happen anymore. They've like bred that color out of the meat. And so I don't know. I don't know what they're up to. I just don't really trust it. And I love the way that looks. I know it's going to taste so much better.
Absolutely.
So we've got these 3 out here. We're going to do a couple little samples. we happen to do, we have a lot of seasonings that work really well with chicken because a lot of people do eat chicken. I eat a lot of chicken. I love chicken because it really kind of takes on a lot of the flavors that you're working with.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and so what we've got here, this is our, this is one of our first seasonings. This is my dad's creation. It's anything with wings. I took his recipe. I just tweaked it a very slight little bit, and but that was one of the first recipes that we did, and that's a nod to my dad. It's called Anything with Wings. We almost named it Gotta Have It because once you taste it, you just gotta have it. But we named it Anything with Wings because it truly does go well with anything with wings. And so we've also got the blackening here. This is a mild blackening. I spent some time down in New Orleans, and every time I love blackening seasoning.
So do I. I love a good blackening seasoning. It's fantastic. I didn't realize you guys had a blackening.
Yeah, but the problem with it that I found, at least down in Louisiana, that blackening seasoning is no joke. I mean, it is super spicy,
Very spicy.
and generally super salty. And so, and I love salt. Don't get me wrong, I love salt. But this is going to be this is a mild blackening seasoning. This is a little something different. I almost think it's almost like a jerk chicken in a way.
Okay.
But it's got a little brown sugar in it to help that caramelization in the blackening process. We're going to try it. We're going to try it on the smoker.
Or maybe we'll do it here.
Yeah,
on
I just cranked the Pitmaster
Okay,
up.
perfect.
So let's flash it on there.
Yeah.
These are pretty thin. These are small chicken breasts.
Yep.
We might do one there, and then do another one, flash it, and then throw it on the smoker. Get a little
Sounds
bit of
good.
smoke.
Yeah.
And then we'll do one with this, one with the Anything But Wings, because this stuff smells amazing.
Yep. And this one you do want to go just, I think that's probably plenty right there. This is more of this is the closest thing to like a seasoning salt that I have,
okay.
I would say. So I think that is going to be perfect. So the other
All right,
thing
can
is
you see the amount of rub we've got on here? So you don't want to like really put a heavy, thick coat on it.
right, and that's on just this one. Now this is we can put just a tad bit more on there. It's going to be perfect.
Okay.
And the other nice thing about dry rubs that I love is that if you do over season it, you haven't ruined anything. Just wipe a little bit off at the end. If it's too salty or too much flavor for your taste buds, you can just wipe it off after you're done cooking. You're good to go. You still got the flavor there. It's just not as pungent.
Exactly.
We've got the blackening. You can go heavy on that all day long. That'll be super mild.
One thing I learned on the barbecue circuit is less is more with chicken.
Yeah.
Like when I first started playing with chicken, it's like I couldn't figure out. Everybody's like, "Oh, use pecan to smoke." I'm like, all right, I'll use pecan to smoke. So I'm like, I had a wood-fired smoker, and I'm like throwing this pecan in. My chicken's got like this nice color to it. I'm like, this is interesting. All right. My brother was in town. I'm like, Wes, come on over, man. I made some chicken. He knew I was cooking. He knew I cooked good. So he comes over, and I'm like, I made some chicken. And I pull this chicken out, and it was dark. I mean, I had put smoke into this because, man, you got to smoke meat. So I bring this chicken out, and I hand it to him. We sit down and start eating. He picks up a piece of the chicken thigh and takes a bite. He's like, "Ugh, tastes like I have nuts in my mouth." And I was like, well, how do you know what nuts in your mouth tastes like? Where is this coming from? Come to think about it, after I started talking to the professionals, they're like, if you're smoking chicken, you want to use about that much wood for the chicken because a tiny bit of smoke, it's a light meat, it penetrates very deeply into the, and it's like, it will overpower your chicken flavor. So you just want a little bit. So that makes a lot of sense with the light bit of rub. So you don't need a whole lot of it. But when you're blackening something, that's when you want to get the rub on there.
Yeah.
I love a good blackened steak, blackened fish.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be
It's so nice.
It is. It really is. And then I think maybe on this last one, maybe we do we've got a little a lemonade is what we call it, AID, because we're helping save your taste buds there. And so this is our lemonade. It's a lemon pepper, and what I did with this is I did not want everything that I do. I don't want it to be like something else that's already on the market. I want it to be a little different. So this has 3 different types of pepper in it. It's going to take you on your tongue on a pepper progression. It's got bird's eye pepper, it's got black pepper, and it's got ghost pepper in it.
Oh, nice.
And so what we're going to do is we're just gonna, it's got a little bit of honey powder, so it is gonna like kind of crystallize on there, or caramelize on there. And honestly, like I put this directly on like popcorn, and it's kind of like a healthy white cheddar. It's got that kind of tang from like the white cheddar flavor, and but it's got that lemon zest. It's got a ton of lemon zest. It's got lemon thyme in it. It's going to give you a huge mouth punch of lemon. Then you're going to taste that black pepper on the front part of your tongue, the bird's eye pepper on the middle part of your tongue, and then that ghost pepper is going to hit you on the back end, but it's going to go away really fast. It's really nice.
This sounds like it'd be a candidate for the flat grill.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
so we'll throw this one. Let's throw this one on the smoker.
Yeah.
Because this one looks like it's be good. What do we got? 300. That'll work us really well.
Perfect.
All right, and then I've got the flat grill fired up. If you want to open it,
All right.
let's get some oil going. I powered that thing all the way up. So we can
Now
do
your way
this.
here.
And on a completely different side note, you guys, we've talked about, smoker preservation. We've talked about taking care of your equipment. I haven't used this thing in probably 6 to 8 months. I opened it up, and it's been sitting out here in the winter. The moisture had gotten into it. It had rusted it. Make sure you take care of your smokers in the winter, because I had to reseason the entire thing before we started today. So this thing's nice and hot. Let's take this.
Yep.
Let's take this bad boy and get it on here. Let's get a little bit more oil there.
Yeah. And then one more.
Now, these things shouldn't take very long at all.
Yeah. Not at all. I'm just gonna go hit it on top too,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
just a little drizzle.
You
From
know,
when we flip.
talking about these breasts versus those breasts, I've got some really good friends that are from South Africa, and over in South Africa they've got what they call a South African braai. Oops, and it's their version of a community barbecue. It's huge.
Okay.
And when they got to the U.S., they moved to the U.S. when they were younger. When they got here, he said the first time he saw an American chicken breast, he was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
I've never seen anything that big, because it was like that huge and fat. And he's like, chickens don't grow breasts like that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. When you see something like that, it's like, that's a normal chicken breast.
Right.
Yeah. This already smells amazing. I can smell the lemon pepper.
I know.
That smells so good. Okay. Let's see what we're looking like there. Oh, look at that beautiful black seasoning.
Yeah.
Look at that. Can you see that? Look at this. Blackening's coming through nicely. That's a beautiful piece of meat right there.
Yeah. That's gonna be great.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Now, with the lemon pepper, it does have the honey powder in there rather than any sugar. Sometimes it will, if you're not careful and you don't have a really nice greased pan, you're gonna lose a little bit, right? It's gonna kind of stick to the pan. That honey powder is gonna kind of crust, and it's gonna stick there. So just be gentle with it. It's kind of, if you get it on there really good, and you've got a well seasoned, and some oil on the pan, you're going to be okay. That's beautiful right there. That's
excellent.
We don't want our flavors kind of running away from us.
Let's get a clean cutting board so we don't have any. These ones are going to cook up fast. They're going to be done here real quick.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, I've got my.
Oop, I keep getting back in the way of
Oh,
it.
we're all good. I've got my handy dandy. We still got a little ways to go. We're at 100.
All right.
Close the heat, lock that in there. Yeah, so these are going to be, this is going to be amazing. This stuff smells really good. Let me actually change these gloves since we handled raw. This is nice.
So you were telling me earlier about your, and I don't want to give any secrets away, so we'll cut this out if it's a secret. But the chicken legs inside the whole pig.
Inside the whole pig,
Tell
yes.
me a little bit, if you don't mind sharing that.
Yeah,
I thought that was very
there's no
interesting.
secrets. We don't hold any secrets back at
Okay,
Academy Q. I mean,
okay.
it is what it is. I put everything out there. There's nothing. You can find 99% of this stuff if you look hard enough on the internet.
Right.
But when we first started, we had a full pig, or we had a pig sponsor.
Right.
And he'd give me about a 120-pound hog, and he told me, he's like, stuff the cavity with chicken legs. I was like, that's weird. So the first time we did it, we were in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and I went and bought like 50 chicken legs and just stuffed the cavity with it, sealed the cavity up, and cooked this thing. And what it does is the grease, as it's cooking, the oils from the pig, it drips through the chicken, and it makes this incredible flavor when it blends with the chicken. And you've got this chicken leg that is just no seasoning, no nothing. I just threw them in there. And I was selling them for $3 a piece, and I couldn't, I mean, they were gone just like that. They were amazing.
A porkin instead of a turducken.
Exactly, a porkin.
A porkin.
It was so good. I can only imagine hitting it with some of these good seasonings and stuffing it in there.
I tell you what,
So good.
that would
Yeah.
go really well. You know, I think hanging out with you just these past few hours, what has come through to me, and I think what's important for your fans to know, is that, you know, you're the pitmaster here. I'm coming to you to learn as well, but we've hung out for a few hours now, and on multiple occasions you've told me of things that you've learned from other people. And so
Always.
this whole passing down of knowledge and helping other people out, it's not just a show.
No.
It's you've fully embraced that, and you've told me on multiple I mean, just in a few hours, several times of when you have said, I didn't know. I went to somebody to learn. And so
My first barbecue class I took, I was blown away at the knowledge. And it wasn't cheap. This was back in 2015, 2014. I was paying $750 per class.
wow.
And I took my first barbecue class, blown away. And the first thing that came to my head was, you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Right.
You know, and I wound up taking 3 more classes after that, and it took me from lower middle to the top of the pack. Like, we dominated the circuit with pork and chicken, and ribs were good, brisket was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but it was game changing. And to this day, I would still go and take another barbecue class if I.
I was smelling it, and
Oh,
I
it smells good.
didn't want it to.
Let's tip it.
I'm
real quick.
betting it's getting close.
140 and 142. Yep, we're getting there.
All right.
All right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, absolutely, man. It's one of those things. It's, as long as you're learning, you're growing.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, you know.
Yeah.
And there's still, you know, I know a lot of guys. The first class I took was from somebody named Johnny Trigg, and he's this older gentleman out of Alvarado, Texas. He's widely considered as the godfather of barbecue.
Okay.
And that guy taught me so much. Every time we get together, I start talking to him, and he'd be like, he'd throw out something else. I'm like, why didn't I ever think about that? It's dumb stuff that you don't think about, and then you learn the intricate portions of it. You're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's constantly learning. It's like, I'm learning a lot from your spices. You know, it's like, why you blend the spices a specific way, because they match the meat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, so this one is done. Let's get a clean knife here. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get a clean knife.
Look at the char. Just that. Oh, that's quintessential. That's so nice. Look at the
This looks
juice.
amazing. Look
The
at
juice on that.
That's a nice juicy piece of chicken.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Wow, look at that. Look at the juice just
That's-
running out of it.
That is what you
amazing.
want right there.
Yep, that's exactly what
really-
you want in a piece of chicken. And look at the meat. It's white, it's lean.
It's not dry. I mean, you know, you're not. It's.
Oh man, that is good. That is really good. The flavor in that is amazing. And this one is.
And listen, don't get me wrong. There's no replacement for real lemon, right? Like, nothing is going to replace that pop of a real lemon juice. But with this, the lemon powder in this, it's going to give you a nice mild flavor. You know, and I think another thing that people get confused about is that, like, when you season your meat, we're not trying to cover up anything. Now, yeah, sometimes if you get a really nasty, cheap piece of meat, you're going to want seasoning to cover it up, right? But
Oh, yeah.
we're accentuating the flavor, right? I mean, you want this chicken to taste like chicken, but enhanced, right? To the flavor that you're looking for.
100%. And that's what I think your rubs do, is it accentuates the flavors of the meat.
Yeah.
So one more here. Let's take a slice out of this one.
And I know this. This is my favorite. I used to love, or I still love buffalo wings, but I do this with wings on the grill. Let the flames char up on the blackening on the ribs,
That
or
is so
on
good.
the wings, excuse me. And it's my favorite way of doing wings anymore.
That is so good. All right, so we've got this one that's going to be a little bit more. Let's go ahead and cut this here. We'll enjoy some chicken and let that cook, and then we'll come back as soon as that's ready.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Be back in a sec.
Hamburger.
Woo! Love me a good hamburger.
That's what the name of this seasoning is. It's called Hamburger. When I was a kid, when something really good happened, the kids in the neighborhood would be like, Hamburger. And so I just had to do that. I had to name that. And so I created a seasoning that has like kind of the flavors of all the condiments that you would want on a hamburger, all in a spice.
Okay.
So we've got some of this beautiful. It's 1,000. Now we aren't paid to say this. I've never used this. It's an organic product. It's grass fed. Really the label got me. I mean, it just looks really good.
It looks like a good beef.
Yeah, 85-15. I typically go for 80-20 on my burgers usually if I can pick. But this is an 85-15. I think we'll be in good shape.
Let me grab my. Thank you. We still got that piece of chicken on here, which is going to be done shortly. Yep, we're at 160, so we got 5 degrees to go on that. And these buns look amazing too. So
yeah, I'm usually a brioche kind of guy, but I saw those fresh baked. They were fresh baked every day. Looked pretty interesting, almost like a croissant or French bread or something. So we'll do a little quarter-pound burgers here, and
that'd be nice.
Would you open that for me? I forget to.
So what's your seasoning to meat ratio with these things?
All right, so I tell everybody just a light dusting on both sides. Everybody's always asking me, should I mix it in? I don't mix it in. I just put it right on top. And what I've been told, I'm the same way. I tend to learn from doing, and I like to ask questions. And so somebody told me, this ground beef has already been I hate to say processed because that gives it a little bit different connotation, but it's been put through the ringer, right? It's been ground up. It's been you don't really need to handle this stuff too much. I just like to give it a quick patty out, and don't really, I don't really tend to worry about what it really looks like at the end of the day. I just want it. I just want it about the thickness that I want it, and then just don't mess with it too much.
I'm kind of the same way with my burgers. I've seen guys that are like, hey, come over to my house, I'm having burgers. You go over and it's like a smoked burger that's been on the smoker for 4 hours. And I'm like, you can't smoke a piece of hamburger like that. It's going to dry it out completely. Yep. And then you got the guy that makes a freaking hockey puck and it lights it on fire and it burns to a crisp and you're eating charcoal. So I'm the same way. I like a nice thin burger, seasoned up. And this is great smelling seasoning. Looking forward to this one too.
I've got a little trick in this one. It's got a little bit of anise to represent a little Worcestershire sauce.
Ah, okay.
So I think it works. Now there are some people. Anise is like it seems like anise is like a cilantro. Like people either love cilantro or they hate it.
Yeah, there's really no middle ground in that.
And so the anise sometimes is the same way. But I think if they didn't know that it was in there, I think they would just think it's fantastic. And
isn't that the same thing they put in absinthe?
I believe it is.
Yeah, I can actually smell it. Yeah, I'm not adverse to it. I like it. I think it's good.
So that's I think that's a good amount on there. I think you don't need to just overkill, but I think that's we got that on both sides there. And maybe even just maybe a little tad bit more, it's not gonna hurt you. That looks really good. All right. And if this grill's ready, we're gonna throw them just straight on here. Nice sizzle.
We'll get those buns on in a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
Slide this over here and get this last piece of chicken out. I'm kind of excited about this one.
Now, what do you think? Do you lower this, or I've heard?
It depends on the wind, honestly.
Okay.
If there's wind, because with these smaller grills, like I've got the big 4-burner Blackstone.
Mm-hmm.
Those things hold the heat forever, unless it's high winds. With these, if you got a little bit of wind, it's going to get in there and blow it out from underneath. Like right now, we really don't have much, so you can leave it open.
Okay.
Might turn it up just a little bit more because they don't have a ton of power under them.
Okay.
But I can already see that it's starting to go up good. So
yeah.
They're going to be nice. Let's have a peek at this bad boy.
Oh wow.
All right.
Just the juice coming off of that.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic.
That looks pretty.
Oh, I can't wait. This is one of my favorite seasonings here.
Oh, look at that. And that's not dry at all. That has great Look, you can see the juice in that thing.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's amazing. And remind me again, which seasoning was this?
This is anything with wings.
Anything with wings. Wow.
What do we think?
That's fantastic. That is really good. That's a juicy piece of chicken. Perfectly seasoned. You're right. If we would have really gone powerful on the seasoning, it would have overpowered the meat. It's really great. It's like I don't have nuts in my mouth when I'm eating that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that.
That's perfect.
That is. It is just the right amount of like salt to spice ratio. It really accentuates the chicken. I mean,
It
you
does.
just really, it just tastes like chicken to me, the way the chicken's supposed to
Yeah.
taste.
That is really tasty. And look at the juice on the cutting board.
I know.
I think it's just leaking juice like crazy.
It's nuts.
It's got a nice little hint of smoke to it. That's perfect. Any more and it'd just be way overpowering on the smoke and,
Right. Yep.
and the seasoning. That's absolutely perfect.
Yep. Yep.
Let's pop
love
a
it.
couple of these bad boys on the grill too and get them.
Absolutely.
Get some nice looking buns. Running out of room, but that's fine.
All right, now, you know, I grew up in a barbecue restaurant. I'd worked at a barbecue restaurant in Gastonia,
Okay.
and it was not the greatest barbecue. It was good. It wasn't the greatest barbecue. But what they were famous for was for their barbecue slaw. That was the big thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But we had everything. We had burgers. We had the whole 9 yards. So I grew up cooking on a flat top, right?
Okay.
Now, these are a little bit thicker, so I don't know if they'll get there or not, but I always used to wait. I only wanted to flip them once, right? And I usually waited until kind of the juice, the blood had kind of bubbled to the top, right? And then flipped them. And has that been your experience on cooking burgers on the flat top?
Yeah,
Or what do you,
I like
what do you tend to?
I mean, I get into, sometimes it depends really. Like sometimes I'll flip them and look at them and be like, no, I need to flip them over
Right,
again. But I
right.
try to stick to one flip.
Yep.
The same thing with steaks when I'm cooking a steak on an open flame.
Yep.
2 minutes, 2 minutes, done. Or, you know, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, medium, done.
Yeah.
You know, so with these, yeah, same thing. And it all depends really on the, like you're getting a nice char
Yeah.
in there.
See, you want to get that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like having that
That's-
nice, the
You
two-tone.
know what that's called? That's the Maillard reaction.
I've never heard. You're speaking Greek to me. What is
The
that?
Maillard reaction is when the fats start to caramelize.
Okay.
It's called the Maillard reaction, and they
Oh,
start to
okay.
come together. Yeah, it's really neat. It's like part of this whole tutorial I'm doing on why we cook low and slow and why we do all that. Like go into depth on the Maillard reaction and what we're looking for, you know. And when you go to your really fancy burger joints, like Five Guys is notorious for it. They take it and they smash that burger out, and you get a burger that's that thin. It's got the crispiness on it. That's the Maillard reaction. That's what
Okay.
you're looking for on a good piece of meat. So it's
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what your friend's trying to do when he's cooking over a gas grill, and he takes his spatula and he's like,
Yeah.
and the flames go shooting out, and it's lighting it on fire, and it's squishing all the juice out of it, and you're like, man, that hockey puck's going to taste wonderful when we're done at the end of the day.
I know, right? Yeah. And you can't take over because it's his
No,
house and
exactly.
he's the cook, and so you just got to smile and eat it. And
Exactly.
but yeah.
Well, when I go to my friends' houses, they're like, oh, Jim, you're here. You get to grill. And I'm like, I don't want to. This is your house.
Yeah. Yep. I came over to not have to cook.
Exactly.
So this one's starting to sweat. You can see where it's like kind of getting that.
Yep.
I really like how that's starting to look. I think we go a tad bit longer on that one, and then let these others kind of catch up. But I really like how that one's kind of starting to
That one's
look
starting to
there.
come together, yeah.
Yeah.
That's looking good. And you know, that's not actually blood either.
Oh, it's not.
It's called myoglobin.
I'm learning all kinds of stuff today.
That's
Guys, you're getting a free. This is a free ride right here, man. This is good
So
stuff.
that's a big misunderstanding when someone goes and picks up a piece of meat after it sits for a little bit. It's not blood because there's no blood running in the muscle. It's like all the blood has been drained out of the cow
Okay.
when they kill it. So it's called myoglobin, and it's basically just like the proteins in the meat are starting to come out, and they're red because the meat is red. It's not blood.
Okay.
It's called myoglobin.
I never knew that. I can tell my son that now. He's
There you
all
go.
grossed out by the blood. I'm gonna tell him it's not
There's no
blood. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
I mean, if you go and slaughter a cow by yourself, that's going to have some blood in it for sure.
Right.
But not on your meat.
Interesting.
Those are nice and toasty, ready to go.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's softened up nice, man.
Yeah, it's
Almost
almost
does a good job of making their own meat, man.
yeah. I'm excited to try. It almost looks like a hamburger brioche roll mixed with like a croissant or something.
Yeah.
It's
good.
Be interesting.
Absolutely. All right, those are looking pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
See, here comes that wind. That's what I'm like.
Yeah, just
that up
let's
a
hit
little
it just real quick with that, and then I think I think we're gonna be in good shape.
Absolutely.
We're multitasking. Yeah. Oh, that's looking good right
That
there.
looks really nice.
I love that.
Yep. All right, now I've got a really specific recipe when it comes to brisket, so on and so forth. We're not going to follow that at all. The only thing we're going to follow is the cooking times and cooking temperatures.
Okay.
So what rub do you recommend for the beef?
Okay, so I've done a few of these with the OG, salt, pepper, and garlic.
Okay.
And it's always phenomenal. I would highly recommend, since we have two, I would highly recommend one be that, and then the other potentially our our cocoa butter. It's our chocolate coffee rub that's right there. And this was kind of my attempt at a brisket rub. This was my brisket rub, and so that's what it evolved into. I had, back, I don't know if you remember, like back in the mid to late 90s, kind of chocolate coffee had a little run in restaurants and such, and I kind of remembered that, and then it kind of dropped out of phase there for a little bit. These are also great to mix. Like I love mixing these two together because it just that salt and
it smells like freaking cocoa powder.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
The coffee is
nice color
is
in
decaf. This is going to be an amazing just
would it
mixing
make a difference
these
if it was regular caffeinated coffee?
I don't think it would, but I mean, we are family friendly, and you can go whole hog on this. Like you can dump plenty of that on there. That's a big piece of meat. I tend to recommend like one of these bags will do maybe a 15-pound brisket.
Oh wow! So you're really laying it on.
I really lay it on. Yep.
Okay.
It'll because it will fall off. A little bit will fall off and all. And let's hit this again.
So full disclosure, by the time we start doing this tomorrow, this thing's already going to have been fired. So I'm going to fire this thing early because I'm going to run the same time frame as a brisket, 7 hours. So instead of us standing around for 7 hours tomorrow, I'm going to fire this thing up early, and then we'll come back and we'll play with this at the end of the day. But this looks nice. I like this. I like the smells. I'm a big fan of blending rubs.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to find the right kind of blend though, because you can blend two different rubs and it's going to mess something up bad.
Yeah, these two play well together. You're not going to mess up blending these two together.
Okay.
I mean, I love both of them individually as well on this type of meat, on steak.
Do we need some more OG or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
This, the OG, like we do a sheet pan recipe of veggie, just all veggies. If we really want to eat some meat, we'll throw some sausage in it. Just dust the whole sheet pan. One pan in the oven, you're done in like 30, 45 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, so this thing is very versatile. Obviously just salt, pepper, and garlic. So,
nice.
But that looks amazing. It's going to be amazing. I know it.
So I'm going to let this thing sit out overnight. Not out, but I'm not going to refrigerate it.
Right.
And my thought process behind it is I want whatever sodium's in there, I want the meat to start relaxing and start to break itself down. The enzymes in the meat are going to start to break down almost like a decomposition.
Okay.
So as it breaks down, it's going to absorb all that rub into the meat, give you a more flavorful piece of meat at the end of the day. With my brisket, I'll let it sit out. I'll season it at 3 o'clock and then fire it at 7 o'clock the next morning because it's such a dense piece of meat. I want that soaking in as much as possible.
Okay.
And unlike a rib or some well-marbled piece of meat, if you put it like a rib, if you let a rib sit out for more than an hour, you're going to have pools of juice underneath it, and that's the fat rendering because it's such a mild piece of meat. But with these things are huge. They're thick. It's just going to soak into the meat. It's going to be a really great piece of meat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to this. We'll fire this thing up tomorrow morning. I'm going to move this up out of the way.
I think we're just
looking?
they're done.
They're done?
They're done.
I like that.
Bring this right back over here.
Excellent. These things smell amazing.
try and do a little maintenance here for you.
No worries. All right. Ooh, look at the juice running off of that thing. Let's cut one of these bad boys in half and have a look.
I really hope they didn't get over.
Oh no, that's
Oh,
perfectly
that's
cooked.
perfect.
Look at that. That's
Yeah.
perfectly cooked.
Nice.
Oh, the smell is amazing. The bun is perfect. Look at the juice in that. Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what you want right there.
That's a good burger. That is a really good burger. Man. Balanced seasoning. It's not too salty. It's not too mouth
Right.
forward.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's got a great balance on it.
You can really taste the grain-fed beef there.
Yeah.
Can you got that? You picked up on
Absolutely.
that flavor,
Yep.
which I personally like because I feel like when I eat some of the other kind of ground beef that's just bland. I mean, it has like almost no flavor.
Exactly.
And this, I feel like, it's like you can taste the
essence of beef.
Right.
Yeah. A couple years ago, we ordered our first quarter cow. And I ordered it. I went to South Georgia and picked it up. And when we got back, it's like I had all this hamburger, so I started cooking hamburger. And the flavor of the hamburger and the meat is like night and day difference from something that's mass produced, mass raised. It's like this year I'm ordering a half a cow. A friend of mine's going to split it with me. I get to pick the cuts of meat, everything I want. And it's like this. This is amazing. This is great stuff. Fantastic.
I got my mouth full. I can't stop eating.
It's so good.
I love it. Again, just help you guys eat a little bit easier, right? Get the kids fed and in bed. It's just something. It's just help. Everybody
Exactly.
needs a little bit of help.
Absolutely.
It's nice to just be able to go grab this stuff, throw it on what you're cooking. You know that it's not bad for you.
Exactly.
It's not you're not putting additional chemicals in your body. So to me, I know that I can sleep well at night knowing that my kids are eating well and they're not going to be, they're not going to have this just synthetic kind of need, like your
Yeah.
body kind of starts needing that stuff.
Right.
And I feel like, I grew up on TV dinners and McDonald's and
Really?
sodas and all this kind of stuff.
I was
and
just the
like-
opposite. My parents were hippies, so we grew up on good food.
Okay.
We grew up
Yeah.
on healthy, organic foods, and it's like we were always healthy as kids. Obviously as an adult, you start to get away from that.
Yeah.
And then it comes into where your doctor's like, you got to cut down on sodium, and it's like, okay, now you got to get back to your roots, and you got to start eating healthier, less processed foods, organic spices, that doesn't have all the fillers in it. You look at the back of a standardized spice bottle, and they've got so many things. You're like, what is that? It's like red number 5. It's like, why do you need to dye your rubs red?
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to go with a very organic, a very straightforward rub. The clumping agents, I'm not a fan of those. It is what it is. They put it in. I know why they put it in.
Right.
But your rubs are fantastic, man. This has been a really great lessons today. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think we're going to have a great time tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So tomorrow we'll come back. We'll fire up this big piece of meat first thing in the morning. When we cut in tomorrow, we're going to be at the 4-hour mark on this guy. We're going to pull it out. We're going to have a look at it. We're going to wrap it. The recipe on this is going to go exactly like we do the brisket. I'm going to fire it at 275 degrees, and we're going to spritz it every 30 minutes just to keep some of that moisture in there. And then at the 4-hour mark with this, we're going to cut into the ribs. We're going to get those ribs going, and then we're going to fire up some lamb as well.
Yeah, and I've got some sharp-tailed grouse.
Oh, then we're going to have some munchies for in the middle of it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome.
Dude, it's been a blast cooking today.
I know.
Hey, look
I've
forward
learned
to
so
tomorrow.
much. I
Likewise.
can't wait. We're
This is
going to have
gonna
to
be
do this
fun.
more often.
Absolutely.
You guys, Jim Frank, the legendary, soon to be world famous, possibly.
Only when I'm using seasonings that this guy makes right here.
Yeah. It's been,
All right, guys.
it's been fun.
So we're going to leave it there at that. We're going to cut out. We'll see you guys in the morning. See you guys later.
See ya. Hey, good afternoon. It's Adam Jenkins with Flavor Seed. I'm here with Jim Frank from Academy of Q. He's been just taking me through a crash course on smoking and
been having a lot of
the
fun.
secrets of the Pitmaster. Yeah, so we're here to try and see how Flavor Seed stands up to the competition.
Absolutely.
So,
yesterday, you guys remember yesterday we prepped up the chuck roast. I fired him at 9 o'clock this morning, so now we are exactly at the 4-hour mark. I just temped him. And believe it or not, they're at 160 exactly where they should be. So per the recipe, we're going to take them off. We're going to wrap them with some beef consomme and stick them back on. So let's go ahead and grab these things. Get a good look at them here.
Oh, wow. That is gorgeous.
Obviously, the little one's probably a little bit higher than 160. I think it came out at 175, but who cares? The smell is amazing. So you can see the fat's really starting to render. The smell, it's fantastic. Like I said yesterday, I wouldn't think that the cocoa would work on this, but man, the flavors are really coming in. So let's turn these sideways a little bit so we got more.
Taste that little nuggy.
Ooh,
Is that not? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so let's do this so we don't make a mess. We're gonna just dump that right in there.
All right, yeah, I'm here for the easy part.
Under there. So what we're doing, just like I said, we're going to do it exactly like we did with, like we cook a brisket. We're putting beef consomme in. You can use whatever you want. I find beef consomme gives it a nice, beefier flavor, more so than beef base, whatever you want to call it.
So like a beef broth, is this this is just maybe more concentrated?
Yeah, it's more concentrated, has better flavors.
Yeah.
And once I started using that, it really popped and started noticing difference in scoring.
I tend to I guess think of myself as kind of a purist and like kind of a traditionalist, you know. I'm like, I'm gonna put my dry rub on there and I'm just gonna throw it on there, and I don't wrap it, I don't do anything. And obviously I'm not on the competition circuit, so I'm sure
anymore, but that's where I learned everything, you know. And I was the same way. I was a purist. I wanted 100% barbecue the way it should be. But once you start wrapping, you start noticing that the meat is moister. It has more intense flavors, because what it's doing is, instead of, like when we discussed the stall, it comes up to 165 and you're evaporating moisture until it hits a point where it can keep cooking.
Yeah.
So when you hit 165, instead of evaporating the moisture, you wrap it in foil or your butcher paper, either or.
Okay.
And it forces that moisture back into the meat.
Nice.
You know, you're not going to have that really heavy duty black bark that people are like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's burnt. But that's what people enjoy. Let them make it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you'll see this is not going to have a heavy bark. It's going to have that nice black bark. Be a little soft. And once it rests for a little bit, you'll be able to tell what we're talking about.
Right.
It's pretty cool. All right, so that has 3 more hours or so, something like that. So in the meantime, what are we going to do?
We've got some lamb chops. They're just these beautiful little riblets. I thought it'd be just a really nice presentation if you've got company over or something. We're going to put the Greek, it's Greek to me, on there. It's going to be fantastic. My buddy's a hunter. He happened to give me a sharp-tailed grouse. I have no idea what that actually looks like. I need to Google it. But I have had the meat before. It's a darker meat, so it's going to be like almost like a duck breast type deal. It's going to give almost like a steak feel to it. We're going to cook it medium rare, medium rare, and they're just really beautiful little cutlets, breasts, and it's going to be fantastic. We're going to use chocolate coffee on that.
Sounds good.
We've got some of these beautiful little sharp-tailed grouse breasts, again, that my friend that hunts gave it to me. Probably aren't going to be able to find this out in the grocery store, so maybe meet some people that hunt. There's not much fat on these, so we are going to add a little bit of olive oil or oil here. And then we're going to add the chocolate coffee rub.
These kind of look like the goose breast.
Yeah.
Like wild geese. It kind of looks like a goose breast. We had a couple geese land on the lake and they crash landed and they didn't survive. So.
Well, it's good to know that they went to good use.
Yes. Now, so what are we going to do? I hear we're going to sear these things real fast because they're obviously very thin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, to try and preserve what little bit of, moisture and fat we've got in these things, I think a quick reverse sear would be really good.
Okay.
These are gonna taste and kind of feel like beef.
Okay.
Even though they are from a bird. And you can, eat these medium rare, medium. So we're gonna go medium rare on these, I believe. You know, that's the goal at least. We'll it'll be fine if they get a little bit more done. If you go, you know, if you cook these well done, they're just not. They're almost gonna turn into like the consistency of a liver.
Interesting. Okay.
So you definitely want to treat them well and not overcook them, unless you just love liver, and then you know.
Then you're a person that does. We'll just leave it there. The only wild game I've ever cooked is bison.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did a bison. It's like a rump roast or something like that. It was a lot of fun. It was very different because, like you said, it's very lean.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So we've got the grill. I want to throw some oil on that.
Yes,
I didn't
sir.
oil it up.
Yep.
And we are good to go with the sear.
All right. I love that sound.
Oh yeah. Starting to get a sear on these things.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yep.
Let's see what we got here. Nice. I like the way that the rub really caramelizes up.
Yeah.
It looks pretty.
The you know, see, we've got this little. I didn't notice that. Yep. I didn't notice that when I put him on. We'll have to flip that one more time maybe, and I should have done a better job when I seasoned them.
We could probably throw some more seasoning on them right now.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
just
gonna hurt anything.
just a hair. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's great.
Once we flip that over, they'll stick right back in.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very versatile rub. I really enjoy that. I didn't even imagine what the flavor would come out like. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things, it's like chocolate, what? It's like the first time I used a rub with coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the guy that made the rub, I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm using it on pork. He's like, what? You use it on pork? I'm like, try it. And he's like, that's epic.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know, man. It's crazy the way different things come about.
And so, you know, when I was developing this, I invited a bunch of friends over, and I had 4 Boston butts, and I was just testing everything out. I had the Smoke 'em If You've Got 'em North Carolina barbecue rub, and then I had this, and then I bought Meat Church, the Gospel, and then another Meat Church, because I talked to some people, and they were like, that's the kind of the gold standard
It's
out
a good
there.
rub, yeah.
And I cooked them all the same. Only thing different were the rubs. And we had a blind taste test with about 50 people, and
Pop these in
the
here.
flavor seed beat out the Meat Church in both rubs. So I knew at that point I had something on my hands.
Absolutely.
So that was a really defining moment, you know, for me, not being a pitmaster or anything like that, but to be able to like kind of just do everything all equal, all, you know,
Yeah.
They all went on the same pit, the same type of wood, the same everything, except for the rub, and people enjoyed that better. And
That's
so,
fantastic. You know
yeah.
what I like? What I like about the rubs, I came to a realization last night, we were sitting around after you'd left, is you get barbecue with the rubs, but it's not barbecue flavor. Like all your rubs on the market are standardized flavors.
Right.
They've got specific things in them. With these, you've got just crazy rub that come together with the meat, amazing, and you don't have the same barbecue flavor over and over again. You've got a great chocolate flavor, you've got
Yeah.
the lemon flavor, you've got, you know, just everything. It comes together really well.
Yeah, we have 16 different flavors, so there's something for everybody out
Yeah.
there. And you know, everything is a little bit different. I want to make something that's not like what everything
Exactly.
else is. So
That's perfect.
I try and put a little twist on everything that we do. And I've got a lot more in, you know, that I've already been working on, several different, kind of like a North African spice, and I'd love to do, you know, an Asian type spice where, you know, they're so sauce heavy.
Yeah.
I feel like everything, you know, in the Japanese and Chinese cuisine is very sauce heavy, and so I would love to do something that imparts kind of that Asian vibe in a dry rub.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so we fired these things. They're probably going to take about 15 minutes, I would think, because at the temperature we're running.
Yeah.
We're going to take a temp on these things in a few minutes, and we'll be back to close this little segment out.
All right, we've got the grouse up the temp here. We're gonna pull it off. It cooked a little bit quicker than we expected. So we're gonna grab that and give a little taste test. These things look beautiful.
And look, and they smell amazing too. I'm really digging it.
Absolutely. Normally I'd let this sit just for a minute or two, but for the for the time we have here. Okay, yeah, we're good to go. You know, this is probably
that's nice.
medium. We may have left it in there a minute or so too long. We had a little audio issue, so no big deal. We're not perfect, but these are going to be delightful. I cannot wait. It almost just gives you that. It's almost like a sirloin. That texture on it.
Very nice.
So, cheers.
Cheers. That smells incredible.
Right, just
That's
like
amazing.
steak, right?
Yeah, it's got an exact texture of steak. The flavors are great.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's beautiful.
If you guys can get hold of some wild game, definitely try this recipe.
Yeah,
It's really good.
it's really, really good.
Surprisingly really good. I've never really had.
Is it
wild
not
game.
just like a sirloin though?
Yeah.
That texture of a sirloin?
It's exactly like a texture of a sirloin, which is odd coming from a bird.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
It's great. You know,
That's some good stuff here.
yeah.
Outstanding. All right, so next up we're going to do some lamb.
Lamb chops.
Lamb
yeah.
chops. All right, so we're going to clean up. We'll be right back with some lamb chops after we eat
Fantastic.
the rest of this good
Yeah,
stuff.
no doubt. It's gone.
All right, be right back.
Look, we got to do some more for you guys. We're going to do this again. Today we've got these beautiful little lamb chops, lamb riblets, I guess maybe you might say. They're just gorgeous. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, you can really fancy up a dinner for your guests if you buy some of these and put them on a plate. We're going to be using our It's Greek to Me. This is just super simple. You know, one of the benefits, again, we talked about this yesterday about, you know, being creative and changing things to your taste and whatnot. But the beautiful thing about our seasoning is if you are in a crunch or maybe you aren't the best in the kitchen, just get it on there and it's going to make it great. You know,
100%.
I mean, it really helps people. Just put a, you know, that's why we say it's like a restaurant in a bag or a restaurant in a jar. You know, we've got it in the jar as well. And we make you the chef. So that's kind of one of our little taglines there that we like to remind people. You know, it can be easy. It doesn't have to be difficult.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be intimidating. That's what That's
Right.
what Academy Q is all about. Learn how to do it, and this is such a major portion of it. You know, knowing what to put on meat, how to do it, and like I said, your rubs are fantastic.
Yeah, so we're just going to give these, they're nice, well marbled, but we're just going to give these a little extra olive oil on there we're doing a reverse sear again. And this seasoning really stands up to the heat and all as well. I actually love it when it gets a little charry and the big chunks of garlic and stuff kind of get caramelized and brown, and
That's so nice. Yeah.
and this is great, like, you know, chicken, steak, kebab, like veggie kebabs, shrimp, lamb, everything. I mean, it's just such a nice light.
See, something like that, like I was mentioning before, something like a quick reference guide, so you could just look at it and say, okay, this is what it goes with, because you
Yeah.
know, you read the front label and it's like, oh, okay, it goes on Greek food, but they're so versatile. There's
Yeah.
so much you can do with these rubs, and it works. Like
Yeah.
popcorn with the lemon, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I eat this stuff sometimes. I mean, it's just, you know,
The smell is incredible.
yeah, it is. It's all right. We're good to go. We're going to reverse sear these.
We just
This
need
is going to
some
be,
oil on here.
yep, this is going to be super quick. Again, about like the grouse, you know, we're just gonna hit it with some high heat and then throw it in the smoker. And these things are going to be done.
That grill should be right about 600 degrees. Let's have a peek. 626 is exactly what.
All right, and then I'm just gonna throw a little teeny tiny
that
bit
smells
more.
amazing already.
Yep.
You can smell that seasoning boiling up. Ah, so nice. Yeah, that smells fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, to be honest. It's so versatile, and you're just gonna get a nice floral blend of flavor. It's got a little kick. It's got a little crushed red pepper in it.
Okay.
So, and it's got a hint of cinnamon. And that's just, it was a nod to, you know, I tried a bunch of different Greek recipes when I was developing this, and nothing really hit home with me. And so, but a lot of them did include the cinnamon, and I was a little skeptical at first.
Yeah.
But I put it in, and man, it really just,
It is.
it just hits it off just perfectly.
It works really well.
Yeah.
And the smell is just amazing.
Yep.
Hint of cinnamon right there.
All right, let's, do you have tongs, or are we working with this?
We're working with that.
Okay. I tell you, I can't live without a good set of tongs. Like I think I use that on, like I use tongs to stir my doggone bowl of of beans and stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're just so versatile.
I had like 3 good pair of tongs, and we did a catering event, and they didn't make it home.
Ah.
So now trying to buy a good set of tongs is like solving a mathematical equation as long as the house. It's ridiculous. I'm like, where do I get them?
Here, I'm just gonna give you. Look at this. This is just. That is just gorgeous.
Oh, that's beautiful. Hey, caramelization on that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, we don't really have very long here.
Okay.
These are, we may not even make it to the smoke, honestly. These are so thin.
That's probably,
those are super rare right now.
yeah, we're at 99 right now.
Yeah.
100. Yeah, these things are cooking really quick.
Do you ever use the finger method?
Oh,
on
I used to
yeah.
until I found a thermopin.
That's the easy
The
way of doing
Insta-read.
it. It definitely takes the mystery out of it.
Yeah.
You're like, that's, yeah, okay, yeah.
Maybe
it's
rare.
about- yeah, maybe rare.
And then you're sitting there poking it, and you forget to, like, oh, I got to turn that, and you're like, oh crap, overcook that side, and you flip it over before you know it, you got a medium well.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep. So that's a good. And you guys, do you guys give those away when they join or something?
They
Did I
do. They
see
give them away
something?
from time to time. They give them away.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic product, and they give away a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
amazing.
I know. They're giving away some flavor seed.
Yeah, I
mean,
see that all the time, and people love it.
Yeah.
They get this. They test it. They do testing for us.
Yeah.
Our beta testers, and they absolutely love the stuff.
So guys, if you're into freebies, I would highly recommend signing up for the gear tester. I think they call it.
Yep.
Why don't we throw those on? Just get a hint of smoke on there.
Okay.
And I think that we're not going to be on there very long at all. We're going to be on there maybe a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
Just enough to impart a little smoke. And just finish these puppies off. And they're so cute. You know, like, pair this with like a Greek salad and some like maybe risotto or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
We've got a favorite recipe we do, like it's an Israeli couscous salad, and it's got all this, like, it's got some mint in it, and it's got some onion and some peppers, and it's just it's a really nice
I
pasta
love a
salad.
Good pasta salad. And half the time you go and it's just like grease and
That's what I was looking for.
and pasta, but you get a good pasta salad. That's so
Yeah.
tasty.
Yeah.
Way.
Yeah, so we actually, you know, I'm not a chef, I'm not a trained chef, but I did partner with Johnson & Wales last year, and we
very
created this summer cookbook where the students created all the recipes, and and we have those available. You can download them. I think if you spend $50 or more, you can download the digital copy for free.
Oh,
And these
well
are
worth
all
it.
like chef inspired and created recipes, but they're designed to use flavor seed and to be easy and something that you can make within about 30 minutes.
That's amazing.
So yeah. There is one exception. They've got a pork tenderloin in there.
Okay.
That we used, the smoke 'em if you got 'em, and the chocolate coffee, and then we made this homemade. We called it a country salsa because it's a barbecue sauce made out of apples.
Okay.
We reduced apples, or you can use applesauce, and the sugar mama.
Okay.
And it worked really well. All three of those
For the
paired.
pork tenderloin?
Yeah, with the pork tenderloin,
Yeah.
it was so good.
That's amazing.
I think we're probably just about ready here. We're gonna go for a nice medium rare again,
You're at 130.
right at 130.
That's about medium rare.
That's just about medium rare. I think most of them are temping. We'll let it go. Just,
That one's 150.
yeah, we can pull them off. I don't think we're not gonna hurt ourselves here.
No. That. Those things look absolutely beautiful. caramelization on the rub is really nice. I like it. And the smell, wow, those things smell incredible.
Isn't that I mean, that's really, it didn't take anything, and that is that's going to be a beautiful presentation on a plate.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you guys,
You could stand these things up and
oh yeah, like
do a
if you did some mashed potatoes or something,
stand up
or
on a
like
mashed potato and
yeah,
like, dress them up really pretty.
yeah. Oh, look at that.
Get the things going like that. Put one in the front. Throw that on a pile of mashed potatoes. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's going to be amazing.
absolutely. Speaking of amazing, why don't we taste one of these?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, I know it's hot, but
You just going caveman.
uh-huh. Oh, so tender. Oh
look at
my
that.
God.
Look at that. That's perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Absolute perfect cook.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It's like melt in your mouth.
The flavor that rub imparts is incredible. Lamb already has a good flavor, but that complements it so well.
When I think I think it takes the intimidation out of people that may not be familiar with lamb.
Yeah,
It does have a different flavor, right? It's got a little gaminess to it.
exactly.
But this really works with that gaminess to really make it more almost domesticated, if you will.
Exactly. And it is so flavorful. It blends absolutely perfectly.
Man.
Wow. You guys are missing out on this one. We're having a good time here.
Pick yourself some of these and do this for your friends. It's awesome.
Get the Greek. Because it's all Greek to me until we put it on meat, then it becomes amazing food. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so we got one more to close out. We got a beautiful piece of meat that's just about ready here. Let's go ahead and flip this table.
Yep.
And we'll come up with a good chuck roast and see how poor man's brisket comes
Oh
out.
man, I smelled it earlier.
It smells so good.
gonna be amazing. I'm gonna fight you for the leftovers.
I'll probably give you some of the leftovers. We'll see. All right, so we'll be back in a second, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, here we are back with Adam from Flavor Seed.
Yep.
And we've got this chuck roast that we put in at early this morning. Just hit temp, so let's pull this thing off and see what we got.
Jim, I'm so excited. Like, I love chuck roast. You know,
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have gloves on underneath these, so if you touch that, you're going to burn your fingers.
yeah, yeah. Well, I worked in a restaurant in high school, and one of my jobs, the first job, was to take the French fries that came just straight out of the fryer, and put them in like you grab them with your hands into the little bin, and then
Wow, okay.
let me help you out if I can.
Yeah,
And
well,
so I think I burnt all the fingerprints off my hands
I did
there.
the same thing, but still, when you grab something that's 300 degrees,
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, that's hot.
yeah. Be careful.
So all that beef consomme we put in here, it sucked it right up into the meat.
Wow.
See, that
Look
was
at
almost
that.
a full can, and that's why we put the beef consomme or, a beef base in there, just
Man.
because you want the meat to reabsorb all that moisture.
I'm doing that from now on.
So my idea was to dump off the juice, because with a brisket, you're gonna have a ton of juice. We don't have a ton of juice with this one, so let's take the little guy here.
Okay, you were going.
That's what I said.
Sorry,
Let's
I
take the little
missed.
guy, maybe a piece of the big guy. And I'll set this over here because that is really hot. Normally I want to let this rest for a good amount of time, but I really want to get at this one.
Now, what are you? It looks like it's starting to fall apart. I mean, are you? Yeah, that's a great texture on there.
So with a chuck roast, I'm not going to cook it to where I can slice it like a brisket.
Okay.
This is this is a meat to shred.
Yeah.
I'll let you be the judge of that.
Man.
That rub,
You guys,
Matches
when
amazingly
this
well.
recipe hits,
man.
if you don't do it, I'm sorry. Like, don't die without having tried this.
This is amazing.
For real. And like you said, it's like what? All this meat was like maybe $20 or
Yeah.
something. Like, it's crazy.
It's super cheap. That's why they call it a poor man's brisket.
Oh,
Because
no.
the flavor is phenomenal. It's not a huge marbled piece of meat, but I mean, it just absorbed all that beef consomme, matching with the chocolate rub,
Yeah.
with the cocoa butter and the OG. Just
And that,
fantastic.
just that smoke flavor on there, the fat.
Great smoke. Let's take a look at the
Man.
smoke ring, see what we got. Look at our smoke ring.
That's beautiful.
Really nice smoke ring. And people say Traegers don't give you smoke rings. I beg to differ.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is great.
it really is. In fact, I might have to slice some up and do this. I mean, you can make a jerky out of this, right?
Yeah, actually you can. People really make a jerky out of it. That's going to be one of the next things I do is jerky because it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Slice it, season it. You could take your seasonings, put it on there, and just put it on the smoker low and slow until it's dehydrated. You got great beef jerky.
Dude, like this would be a great flavor for a beef jerky as well.
It
like
would.
that. Man,
We'll do that next time.
I'm just gonna sit here and pig out. Like, I'm not one normally to like want to partner this with something, but like I'm just like if I had a big bowl of mac and cheese, I would
Shred that
throw that in there in a heartbeat. Oh my gosh,
So good.
I love it. Thank you
Absolutely
so
amazing.
much, Jim. Hold on,
You're
let me-
welcome, man.
I
This
got-
has been an eye-opening experience.
I gotta shake your hand.
Thank you, sir. And you as well, man. These rubs are incredible. The way you match them to meat, like I'm saying, man, if you could make a quick reference guide, I'd
Yeah.
buy that thing for me for 10, 15 bucks, whatever, just so I can hang it on the wall beside my other quick reference guide.
Yep.
Put it up there so I know, because my first thought is not to put cocoa powder on beef, but man, that works.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Got a little bit of heat. There's a little bit of crushed red pepper in there, so you get a little
Yeah.
bit of heat coming through.
Man, I really appreciate you coming over and
Absolutely.
cooking with us.
Absolutely.
This has been a great experience. Very eye-opening, very, knowledge imparting. It was just a lot of fun.
It was.
And we're going to have to do this again. We're gonna have to
Absolutely.
make this a regular thing where we do this.
Absolutely. Sounds
Outstanding.
great.
So if you guys haven't done so already, get over to his website, check out his rubs, beta testers. You're going to keep getting these things. Keep writing those kick-ass reviews. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next time, man. Thanks
Sounds
again for
good.
coming over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man. Thank you. We'll see you
Yep.
next time, guys. Keep
See ya.
on smoking it.